We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
Hello, and welcome once again to another Tuesday, a brand new Tuesday into a brand new year. How you doing, everybody? I hope everybody's doing extremely well. I just wanted to, again, wish everyone a wonderful new year. I hope the new year is going accordingly, and if it is, great for you. Outstanding. This is all about our recovery, folks. This is 2023 recovery. Think about that. 2023 recovery. 2022 is behind us. It's done. It's over with. It is out of the picture. You are now going to have to focus on your recovery. My name is Tyrone Glover, and I am the Dress Down CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery. And I want to thank you for, again, starting off this year in a positive, starting off this year in a great understanding, because it's all about now your recovery. I was just listening to some of the pundits out there, and they're still screaming recession, recession, recession. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put it to you clear as possible. Those multi-millionaires, those rich individuals, uber wealthy individuals, they're not talking to you. They're not talking to me. They're not talking to us. They have experienced some losses, but we, the working poor and the middle class, all we do is experience losses. So for us, it's about recovery. 70% of the population is on a trajectory to recover, because there's a lot of things that we do not do. But my job is to help you now understand these things that you're going to have to do. I'm the credit guy. I'm a guy who loves everything about credit. And for the past 20 years, that's what I've been putting all of my interest, emphasis, and everything into, to get a beautiful knowledge and an understanding of how this credit game works. And I'm here to tell you, new laws are out. I was just reading them and going over them for each state. There are new credit laws out that are going to help you. And next week, that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about those new credit laws that are going to help you with making sure that no creditor is taking advantage of you, because this is what they've been doing for decades. If you go back and if you want to read those Ways and Means, Financial Committee, Ways and Means is something else that I was reviewing or looking at online to get an understanding of what they do. But the Finance Committee, led by currently Maxine Waters, and now we got a new Congress coming into play. Today they were voting in, but that's another topic for another day. My point that I was making is that new laws are out, and if you are interested in learning and understanding how they're going to benefit you, tune into next week's show, because we're going to be talking about all of those brand new credit laws. If you haven't already, go ahead and do yourself and do me that favor. Go ahead and grab that device. Send that information out too. As you can see, I'm already on and I'm sending out that information. So go ahead and do me a favor and service by adding that information out there as well. We're going to be giving it to you just like we always do. Direct, in your face, no gloves. We're not sugarcoating anything, because we're not Willy Wonka. We are going to be telling you exactly how this must be played, how you're going to have to do what you need to do. And if you do 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever time frame you're looking for, you will be in a position to actually set yourself up for financial success, generational wealth, and then you can start benefiting from all of those other programs and processes that are already out there. My good dear friend and mentor, Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse, who is phenomenal and all of the aspects of what she does to enhance the credit piece that I do. She is brilliant in all of those financial components that's going to help you build generational wealth. If you are unsure, please, by all means, tune in Thursdays to her show, Access Wealth Nation. It's going to help you with making sure that once you have the credit piece in play, everything else that you need is in our house, our Soul City house. We have all the experts under one roof because we want to make the transition nice and smooth. And I'll be bringing her along with other fabulous individuals into the program so that we can be doing what we need to do, which is making sure you are on point when it comes to your finances. So we're going to jump right into the conversation, a necessary conversation. It continues, folks, and it's around financial literacy. We need to make sure that you are able to do what you want to do. It's just that simple. You need to be in a position where your finances speak for themselves. Okay? We be looking at our credit scores. We're looking at all of these indicators and things of that nature. But I'm here to tell you, your credit scores are incorrect. They're incorrect. They're setting you up for failure. And we have to stop setting ourselves up for failure. We have to stop putting our information so out there that it does what for us? It doesn't give us the information or the understanding that we need when it comes to these creditors. So today we're going to be talking about one of the coolest topics that I like to talk about too, besides credit, is are you operating a business or managing a hobby? So everybody, it's not a resolution. It's a commitment and a contribution. Welcome to Recovery 2023 Recovery. It's right there, folks. That's what we're doing today. This is what's going to set the tone for you moving forward. Everyone keeps talking about what's your resolution? What's your resolution? What's your resolution? Well, folks, it's a commitment. Make that commitment and be dedicated to the contribution. And everything that you're seeking will pay off. It's up to you this year, 2023 recovery. Don't sleep on this one. You sleep on this one, I'm telling you. What are you going to wait for the next pandemic? You're going to wait for the house to get out its situation in order, and then you're going to start? But when? Start today. You've already went out, you purchased those gifts, you made sure that the loved ones had, you did your due diligence in the gifting season. Now I'm asking you to do your due diligence in the investing in you season. Because if you do, I'm telling you, those of us who already know how we can help you, we're going to be there. We're going to be there to hold that hand. We're going to be there to give you that support. We're going to be there to provide every bit of understanding that you're going to need to move forward. All right, the necessary conversation around financial literacy continue. What is a business? The agenda for the day. What is a business? What is a hobby? Business or hobby? Is that the one? Which one are you actually operating? A business or a hobby? We're going to talk a little bit about once you've established a business or you are still doing a hobby and you want to turn it into a business. Wage and hours in New York. All right, New York State, there are wage and hours for each state. I chose the state in which I live in because primarily I'm addressing a lot of individuals within a community of Yonkers, New York, which is in New York State. And if anyone has any questions about their states, doesn't matter. Reach out to Soul City Network, reach out to Leverage Credit Recovery, reach out to Access Wealth Nation, and we'll make sure that you get that information. Also, ending it off with some contact details and literally that social media platform to let you know how to stay in contact with us. All righty. So what is a business? A business is a legally recognized organization designed to provide goods and services or both to consumers, businesses, and government entities. There you have it. If you're operating in that manner, and clearly there's some tax understandings that come with that, IRS, because that's for them to be able to tax you properly on your business when it comes to your resources and how you're making that money. And obviously to make sure that you're paying your fair share. We already know about what we've heard when it comes to a organization called the Trump Organization, that they have not been doing their due diligence. But we're not here to talk about anyone or point the fingers at anyone's. What we're here to do is to make sure that you, no matter what type of business you're doing, you're operating it in the context that's going to, again, allow for you to profit. Even if you happen to lose, you still have to be operating your business in the same manner. It's not a hobby any longer. Or is it a hobby? We're gonna determine. Then you're gonna be able to walk away with an understanding. Hey, you know what? I'm ready to take this hobby that I called a business. Just because you have an LLC doesn't necessarily mean you're operating a business if you're not doing some of the particulars. All right. So, what is a home-based business, or what is a home business? There are distinctions at home. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs started off working from their garage, which I thought was one of the coolest things a lot of these companies did. The owner of, or what's his name? Oh my goodness, I can't think of his name right now. Phil Knight, Nike, same thing, garage. All right. A lot of these companies that are in existence today started off at home. They were hobbies. They were something that they loved. It was a passion. And then out of the blue, they said, hey, let's find some investors and let's take this to that next level. So this is what you're going to be doing, folks. You're going to be deciding, am I operating a business? Am I managing a hobby that I need to turn into a business? And if I'm operating a business, am I doing it in the manner in which it's going to bring in the protections that are associated with a business? So you can work anytime at home. You wake up in the morning, as I do very often, get up real early and start my either putting together PowerPoints, looking at the stock markets, being able to gain that insight. Because Steve Harvey said it best, and I think that's really true. Rich people don't sleep past 8 o'clock. They are up already. You sleeping past 8 o'clock, you're missing some very key information that can help grow your business. Or if you're someone like myself who dabbles in the investing piece, you can get up real early and you can score some real gems. So don't sleep on those don't sleep on those early morning hours. Get up early, get that bread, and then take a nap. How about that? So business, an enterprising entity engaged in commercial, industrial, or professional activities. There you have it, folks. If you do not understand this direction of what your business should be doing, then you're not operating your business as a business. You're probably operating it as a hobby, and you just attached some of those business definitions to them. And here's some of those business definitions. Types of business entities. Sole proprietorship. Has one owner or two that are married. Owners file one tax return instead of two separate personal or business returns. Personal assets are at risk if the business faces a lawsuit. So again, being able to determine, am I setting myself up with the right business entity? So that's why it's super important that we're talking about, as we are now entering into, again, a brand new cycle, a brand new year. If you are part of the 50 to 70 million people who said, Ovidas choose hasta luego, to working for corporate America, and you're taking all of your wisdom, your talent, your expertise, your skill sets, and you're now going to venture out on your own, please make sure that you understand that. Am I doing a hobby, or am I actually doing a business? Corporation, an independent legal entity that is separate from personal assets. A C corporation is the most common kind, and it is often complicated to set up. So this is why you would need someone like Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse, who is extremely efficient when it comes to these understandings. I'm just reading them out because, as I told you, I stay in my lane. I love the credit lane, but I really believe it's important for those of us who have a vast knowledge of their specialty, but has also, shall we say, opened the doorway to other areas. But again, I'm only opening that doorway just to give you a glimpse, and then I'm going to pass you off to those who have that extensive knowledge and can really help you with making sure that your entity is set up properly. All right. Profits can be taxed twice when made and when dividends are paid. So again, you got to understand these entities, how they work. And if you don't, you got to reach out to those professionals who, again, as I said, Soul City Network has them in abundance. All right, limited liability corporations, that's LLC, companies, that's that LLC that I was referring to. LLCs are made up of one or more members, offer liability protection. So that's, again, that's keeping your stuff separate because, again, an LLC, a limited liability, that means that you're going to have limited liability should something happen personally, or again, if you're operating it where you're keeping those things separate, personal as well as business. We talked about that not last week, but the week before last. When it comes to taxes, members can choose to treat the company as a corporation or a pass-through entity. So just those three alone are entities in which you should be thinking. If you are a business and you have not already dove into those areas, well, again, this is now the opportune time to do that. And if you are managing a hobby and you're very unsure as to should I turn this into a business, well, there's a little bit of a cracked door for you to peek your eye through. And as I stated, reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to pass you off or put you into the hands of those who will help you set this up ideally so that you can go out and start profiting as soon as you put that label or set up that website or whatever it is that you're going to be doing. All right, so what is the meaning of the word business? Purposeful activity, busyness. The original meaning of business relates to the state of being busy, either as an individual or socially as a whole, doing commercially visible and profitable work. There it is, folks. Profitable visual work. Something that is turning over a profit, and the individuals can see, well, I own a car dealership, or I own a supermarket, or I'm just a home-based business. I had to literally go back and look at my definition of what I was actually operating. I'm operating a home-based business, and that's perfectly fine. I've removed all of those LLC understandings. Now I'm in that area where I'm going to be re-establishing that understanding, but I'm going to do it the right way. So this is why I wanted to speak very astutely about the fact that people have to decide, are you operating a business or are you managing a hobby that can turn into a business? People are sometimes not so sure about what the business is. Therefore, it becomes pertinent to consider understanding these terms. They do not know that business are formed by identifying a problem with a niche and solving that problem. Credit for me was the business that I understood because 70% of the population does not understand how that credit formula or that method works. And that 70%, again, that goes across a multitude of ethnicities. And that's probably even higher. I'm going to leave that number right there at that 70 because that 70 allows me to let us all know we're nowhere near where we need to be when it comes to the understanding of credit, plus all of the reports that I have read from the Finance Committee, again, led by Maxine Waters, which is going to be switching over here because the new Congress is coming in play. But my whole point is that there are reports after reports after reports after reports after reports of the habitual abuse of three companies, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. All they're doing is abusing us. So there was the niche that I found, all the abuse that was going on. And being that I'm someone who comes from the business community, I've been able to allow for that piece of my skills and expertise to actually play out and help individuals with, again, solving problems. Because finance, when that is a loss to a business through whatever the contractual understanding, how that breakdown may have happened, it's a loss. That loss can be written off. If that loss is written off and the individual who might be attempting to collect from you has taken that write-off, well, they can't then come after you and say that you still owe them money. that's how this credit piece works. And this is how we're getting duped, because you get guilted into thinking you still owe them, not knowing, because they're not divulging the fact that they have taken that business right off and they have collected. It's called overbiffing. They're understating their actual loss. You don't know these things. You're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for paying someone something that you do not have to pay. So that's where I've identified the niche. I have the solution to provide to solve the problem. My apologies. So, what have you figured out about your business? It's now just time to decide. Businesses can be referred to as a occupation, profession, or trade, as well as a commercial activity that involves providing goods and services in exchange for profit. Again, in exchange, you can do that in any manner, any way. Profit in a business is not necessarily money. I got smarter. I did make money, but I got smarter. I got smarter and smarter and smarter. And every year it made me even that much more, because I'm an independent study. I do not mind diving into the research, doing the heavy lifting, so that the information that I can give a consumer is as efficient and effective as possible. Because I know sometimes we don't want to do the work, and that's okay. There are those of us out there who like doing the work, and all we want to do is make sure that the information that we're providing is, can't say 100, but 99.9999999% accurate. My job is to make sure that we're living up to the accuracy of what the acts, laws, consumer protections were out there and provided to us. But if you don't know them, you don't have them. All right. So it doesn't necessarily have to be money. It is also a benefit in another form, like reputation. I'm now known as the credit guy. I'm the expert in the credit realm. Reputation and value, which is acknowledged by a business entity involved in a business activity. All right. So not only do I bring value, because my content, as I stated, I have asked multiple individuals, Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, FICO, anybody who's dealing in this space, I've asked them to come on to the show. If there's something that I'm putting out that is not true or inaccurate, come challenge me and put me back in my place of that was incorrect. Guess what? 0 takers. So that means I must be doing something right. All right. So there you have it. The meaning of business in its entirety, in its understanding of what you should be thinking. Am I running a business? Or, as I just mentioned, are you managing a hobby? So what is a hobby? A hobby is usually a passion of yours. Okay? It is an activity that makes your heart beat faster and brings a smile to your face. When I started with credit, I wasn't quite sure. It didn't really bring that smile to my face. But once I started helping consumers and they were looking at me like, oh my God, I can't believe you just helped me get out of this, or you helped me with that, or you were able to increase my this, or you were able to enhance my that, it started becoming a passion. Today, it's all it is. It's a passion. Educating individuals is a passion. I love it. I've always loved it. I just was in different industries when I was providing that education. Flight attendant, yeah, you're providing education, because a lot of times people are asking you for, how do I get there? How do I do this? And you got to go research that, because when they're in a flight 39,000 feet in the air and they're looking to get that connection, depending on wherever you're landing, you want to be able to give them concise information. When I worked for Petco as a general manager, and I ran 4 different stores as a general manager. Yes, 4 different stores. Yeah, they took advantage of a brother just like me because I'm so good. But all those stores did extremely well because I took care of my people. That was a passion as well. It was a love of making sure that the small animals were taken care of, making sure that the fish department was up to standard, up to par. We had salt water, we had fresh water. Again, it became a passion. It put a smile on my face when customers would come in and go, wow, your store looks so great. It smells like an actual store versus a grooming salon. Because that's one of the biggest things when you walk into a store, especially a store that has a grooming salon. Does it smell like wet dog, or does it smell like store? Well, again, if you're doing the right things, it's always going to smell like store and not like the grooming salon, because that's a very unpleasant smell when you walk into a building. All right. So it has to be something that makes that heart beat faster and brings a smile to your face. Even if you have clients ready to pay for your labor, it's probably still a hobby. You may render your services to customers from time to time, but maintain your own schedule and enjoyment of this process. So there you are. There you have it. Is that what you're doing? If that's what you're doing, then that's a hobby, folks. It's not a business. It hasn't been attached to those elements that we just walked through when it pertained to a business. A hobby is a synonym for passion. It is an activity, literally anything that makes your heart beat faster and brings a smile to your face. You may take photos or produce pottery. The key point is that definition is pleasure. Okay, there it is. Are you doing it with the understanding that I like to do this? I'm not looking to gain any resources, but I will take a little bit to pay for cost or to pay for material or whatever it might be in that regards. You might want to think about, hey, I want to turn this into a business, especially if you love it. I always tell my kids, and I tell, well, not my kids per se, but the kids that I meet in school and then the passerbyers that I also meet along the way. I said, if you love what you do, it's never work. I love what I do. It's never work for me. So what is a hobby? A hobby is a human activity, a certain occupation in which regularly are engaged at a leisure as a hobby. All right. Hobbies, what the person loves, and with pleasure, it is ready to engage in the free time. The hobby is a good way of fighting against a stress. Besides, hobbies often help to develop an outlook on, again, is it something that you can turn into a profitable entity that would allow for you to make money? And then obviously be taxed on that, because that's resources, that's income. That income, those resources will always be taxed because of the fact that that's how businesses are more or less regulated and controlled by the government, to make sure that you're not doing anything to, again, abuse consumers in any manner whatsoever. There will be fines, there will be fees for those businesses that take on that understanding. You got to be careful about abusing your consumers. Don't abuse them. They're valued. They are valuable consumers. Don't just put it in your advertisements like Optimum does, or like Verizon does, or like AT&T does. Don't put them into your advertisements just to make us feel some kind of way. Live up to what you are putting out there. If you're going to call me a valued consumer, then value my understanding as your consumer. If I have a concern, if I have an issue, if I have anything that is a negative on me because of your entity, then we need to be addressing it. All right. So it's literally that outlook that you got to really be understanding. The main objective of hobbies to help to self-actualize. That's all. You're trying to figure yourself out. Do I like this enough? And can I turn it into something that's going to be profitable? But you have to decide. Which one do you want? If you want to continue doing it as a hobby, by all means. But if you're looking to make some extra resources or bread, as the kids are saying, off of that hobby, turn it into a business. Make that money. 2023 recovery. You don't want to be working for individuals or corporations that have for decades been taking advantage of you. And when I talk about the wages and hours, you're going to see exactly what I mean by that. All right, so business versus hobby. So it requires more consistency than a hobby. That's a business. If you are spending a lot more time and energy, then guess what? That's a business. You might want to change that in from the hobby into a business. You are dependent on your client's needs. That means you're meeting their understanding. That means you're not doing it based on, oh, I'm just producing something and I'm going to put it on a website or in a book or whatever, and then people are going to decide. You're actually tailoring your business towards the consumer's demands. Now you're operating a business. If you're just creating a, shall we say, a poster, a picture of you're designing clothing, and you're just going to put that out there, small, medium, large, or whatever the understanding may be, you're doing it for yourself and people are viewing your page, then that's a hobby, right? But if you're tailoring it specifically to a client's understanding, now you're operating a business. Decide what you want to do, folks. Decide. Assume that you have a license. Again, a lot of these financial services do require that you have some form of a license. You don't need to be a certified accountant to do what I do when it comes to the credit realm. You can have these notifications or these credentials, but a lot of them are not recognized across the nation. So you really got to be careful that you're not getting something that, again, it might say certificate on it, but it has no real true meaning. Make sure that you are getting accredited, nationally accredited licenses if you're going to be diving into this financial service realm that is, again, so many areas. I chose the credit realm because for me, it made the most sense, and you do not have to be anywhere near licensed in any regard. You don't have to go out and give people money to be able to give them information that is valid, that is 100%, 99.999999999, especially if you do the type of research that I do. So you want to be very, very careful with whom you might be getting into business with when it comes to making sure that you have the appropriate licenses. All right, so there's a middle ground, as always, might bring a lot of joy. So that could be a business and that could also be a hobby. You want to have fun. You want to enjoy what you do, because if you do, it's not work and requires time and effort. Both hobby and business, they both require that time and effort. And as always, let's stop and see what the hobbies have. Is something you do for pleasure. If you're knitting and you like knitting and you, oh my God, I just knitted my niece or my nephew or whatever it was, a nice little hat or scarf or whatever, you're doing that out of pleasure. But once you start knitting a couple of those and then you start putting them again on that website, still a hobby, but if you're making money off of it, you might want to think about, can I make this into a business? You might have clients ready to pay for your work. We know those types of clients, or excuse me, those individuals. A lot of them are family members. Oh my God, I can't believe, can you make me some of that? Oh, can you do that? Or can you do this? Friends and neighbors. Oh my God, I saw that you did this. When I was younger, I was mowing lawns. I was shoveling snow. I was raking leaves. I knew early that I was going to be doing something that was going to have to bring me a little bit more in pocket. And it worked out because it gave me that strength, that understanding that I knew that I was going to be working for someone. But as I was working for someone, I saw that this working for someone is not necessarily always the best thing. So I had to really go back inside and look at, wow, all of my years of expertise and talents I've been giving to entities, but what have they really been giving back to me? So that's why we had this huge, and it's called the Great, it was called the Great Resignation. If you haven't heard it, look it up. Millions and millions of people got sick and tired of working for habitual abusers within their industries, taking advantage of, not paying fairly. I can talk about so many industries that do not pay properly. I was working for a company, and that company hired me as an analyst. As an analyst, somebody who goes into their locations, analyzes certain understandings, and bring that back so that the company can understand, hey, this is what they're doing and this is what they're not doing. One of my supervisors walked into the store and didn't even say good morning. Started right on, how come this is not done? And how come that is not done? Never met her really in person. It was always either over the phone or whatever the case may be. But when someone introduces or comes into a space that you are in every single day, the first thing to do is good morning. How are you doing? You know, the niceties. But this lady walked in and went right into chewing. And I was like, oh, that's not going to work. So a day or two later, I get called down to the corporate office, and I was told, well, you're being too analytical. And then I kindly responded with, but isn't that the title of my job? So I kindly said to them, well, since you folks, your business, but clearly you have a personality conflict and not a performance issue. So I kindly bowed out. Thank you very much, but I don't need the job any longer. Thank you. And guess what? 2 days later, had another one. So you know your stuff. If you know your stuff, again, don't let yourself get caught up in the nonsense. Hobby, business. Which one do you want? Choose it right. If you're doing it for a hobby, continue to keep doing it for a hobby. But if you're doing it for a business, make sure you understand all the particulars that come with that business. All right, so what is the meaning of a hobby? Hobby makes your life brighter and more enjoyable. Most people think the hobbies as an exciting pastime and consider their job dull money making necessities. So that's all. They're just getting a little bit, being able to go out to lunch, being able to maybe stop off at a movie once in a while, take the kids out, take the husband out, take the mate out. Doesn't matter. That's all it is. It's just a little bit of money that someone may say, thank you for knitting me that scarf. Thank you for cleaning that area or raking those leaves or mowing that lawn or shoveling that snow. But be careful in whatever activity that you're doing, make sure that it's being done safely. But the good news is that you can combine both and transfer your lifestyle by making your hobby into a lucrative enterprise. Credit is a lucrative enterprise. My niece currently does hair. She's fabulous. And when I say fabulous, she's an oriented, detail, proficient person who loves to make sure that her styles are just as immaculate as can be. So that's why I really love talking about what she does, because she pays so much good attention to making sure that whoever sits in that chair is going to get exactly what they want. Exactly what they want, which is a perfect hairstyle, a perfect way of being able to go out, and it's going to last you for some time. So she took her passion of taking care of her daughters and maybe some of the nephews and nieces and some of the family friends, and now she turned that into a lucrative enterprise. Still doing it as a hobby, and now we're getting ready to transfer that hobby into a full-blown business. People are sometimes not so sure about what business is. Therefore, it becomes pertinent to consider understanding the terms. Talked about that. They do not know that businesses are formed by identifying a problem within a niche and solving that problem. I wanted to reiterate that piece because, again, that's what business is all about. Identifying a problem within a niche and solving that problem. Business can be referred as an occupation, profession, or trade, as well as a commercial activity that involves providing goods and services in exchange for profit. So I wanted to make sure that you understood the distinctions between the two. Business, profit in business are not necessarily money. It is also a benefit in any form. Okay, reputation and value, which is acknowledgement by a business entity involved in business activities. So there you have it, folks. You got the meaning of a hobby. You got the meaning of a business. I dove into a lot of what you need to know if you are going to, again, continue your hobby or move it into that business realm. But as I stated, I'm the credit guy. I will fill you in on all things credit. If you want, go back and review some of those other shows that we put out there. They're on Soul City Digital, where you can find a plethora of wonderful content that's going to cover a variety of different areas that we focus on, primarily the credit area. But again, Soul City Digital has content that will satisfy anyone's desire. You just got to go there and make it happen for yourself. All right. Is yours a business or a hobby? Have you started your own small business, but you don't know how to treat your business like a hobby? Or, excuse me, you don't know how to treat your business not like a hobby. You want to treat it like a business, but scared you are not. And that was me. I thought I was treating my business like a business, but in all actuality, there were some pieces that I did not put in place. So for me, it was still a hobby. I realized that, and now I made the necessary adjustment. If you treat your business like a hobby, you'll only get hobby-like income. but treat it like a business and you will make business income. Okay, one more time. If you treat your business like a hobby, you're only going to get hobby-like income. But if you treat your business like a business, you will make business income. So that's the important thing about understanding the two. All right. Why you should treat your business like a business, not a hobby. So decide business versus hobby, business versus hobby. And as we talk about business versus hobby, so here's some business understandings. You have a reasonable expectation of making a profit. That's a business. Okay. There are the verses, profit motives. All right. So a hobby, you will sell occasionally, but make money. Making money is not your main goal. There's the difference right there. Another one, you invest significant personal time and effort. You depend on the result income. All right. So the verses, effort and income. Hobby, it's something you do in your free time. You make the bulk of your money elsewhere. Hobby, it's something that you just sit around the TV, or you get some time where you can be off to yourself. If you're a painter and you like to be able to have those moments of where you can just create, that's a hobby. But if you're doing it and you depend solely on that resource as your income, then you're doing it as a business. So it's good to know the difference. Let's do this one more. And then if you guys, anybody who wants these slides, I'll be more than happy to provide this PowerPoint to you. Send me your request, leveragecreditrecovery@gmail.com. And I'll be more than happy to make sure that you get these slides. And you can use them, again, use them at home in family meetings. Use them at your place of work. Share them with others if that's what you want. It's perfectly fine. I do not mind giving out content if it's going to help you with making sure that you're doing what you need to be doing in the right manner. But always remember, we're always here to provide you with whatever it is that you need. We'll hold that hand, as I told you. I don't mind. We've done the heavy lifting. We need you to now start recovering. Recovering. It's just that simple. All right, I'm going to leave that there. I'm not going to read through the remainders of those. But again, you got profit motives. You got effects and income. You got reasonable expenses, background, customers, and professionalism. All right. Those are the verses, business versus hobby. Once you get that down, I'm telling you, you're going to want to put your hobby into a business now that you now know the difference between the two. Don't be scared, as they say in the South. Don't be scared. Make it happen for you. And I'm saying don't be scared. Make it happen. This is your year. Make it happen. The experts, as I say all the time, we're here. We're ready to help. You got to want it more than we. All right, the data. The data always tells us everything that we need to know. It just gives us some key points. 55% admitted that they would like to turn their hobby into a side business, but are yet to take the leap. Why? What are you afraid of? Get out there, do it. It's a brand new year. Brand new year. Brand new year. You need resources. You need understandings. Don't worry about it. There's plenty of them out there. The Biden administration provided ample resources. The recovery itself provided ample resources. Stop thinking that you can't and start understanding that you can. The resources are there. If you're a minority, you got even more opportunities. And as I stated, the experts are there to make sure that you're going to be okay. All right, 55%. 61% believe that current generation needs a side business for money. I would agree to that. I would agree. If you're working for somebody, and as I stated, when you start looking at this next slide, you'll probably see exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to the wages. All right, so you're going to need a side business for money. 39% predict having a side job will be the norm in the future. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's kind of disappointing to say that. No, not really disappointing. It's encouraging because businesses are downsizing, and it's encouraging for those who can do, say, for 20, 30, 40 people that are guaranteed clients. Just think about $300 a day. You do $300 a day times 30 days, that's $9,000. That's way more than you're probably getting right now from your employer. if you have a niche and you're solving an actual problem. It's not that hard. You're going to need another job, a side job or a side hustle or a hobby, something that can generate income or resources. Yeah, I agree with that 39%. Predict that a second job or a side job will be the norm in the future. Agreed. Average side hustle is worked on for 16 hours a week. That's if you're doing something on the side. They got these gig side hustles, the gig economy, driving for Lyft, Uber, doing the Door Dashes or things of that nature. And that's another whole ball game that needs to be discussed, and it needs to be adequately reviewed and oversight. Right now, they're just running the Wild Wild West. And I don't like it. I think it's very disappointing. It's a lot of disservicing going on. But again, if that's what you want to do it in the manner in which it's going to be profitable for you, because as we just predicted, 39% predict having a side job will be the norm in the future. Nearly 42% of side hustles surveys say that they would like to grow their side business. So what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Stop sitting around thinking that the opportunity is, well, let me rephrase that. The opportunity is already knocking. It's already knocking. It's already letting you know the last 2 years opportunity has been knocking. We might not have been able to get the desired information, but now we are able to. Brand new year, folks. Brand new year, new laws, new understanding. Not very many people are talking about that. Why? Because they still want to keep you in the dark. I don't believe in that. I will talk, because I need you to understand you're not going to get it from the federal government. You're not going to get it from your current employer. They are doing everything that they possibly can to, obviously, well, the federal government's doing more than clearly your employer, but your employer, again, how much do they value you? If they don't value you enough, you might want to be looking for another opportunity that will grow and surpass what you're currently doing. Oh, let me go back to that because I wanted to read. Ensure your side business is something you enjoy. Please do. Because if you don't, it's going to become a task. You're not going to like it. Focus on tasks that generate revenue, money. You want to be making money. If you're not making money, it's a side hustle. It's a hobby. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you like doing that, that's perfectly fine. Build a strong social media presence. If you have to go out and hire someone, that's going to be more costs. In the meantime, just do it on your own. Don't take on too many social media platforms, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, whichever one, Instagram, whichever one that works for you. Keep it small, keep it minimum, but have those presence. I had to get back on Facebook as much as I hated it. And as soon as I got back on Facebook, someone tried to hack my Instagram. It's just protect yourself. Be very, very careful if you decide to use the social media presence. Be very, very careful. Set long-term goals. These are not short-term understandings. 5 years, 3 years, 7 years, 8 years, 10 years. I'm now entering into my 7th year of being back here in New York, and I can't wait because as of July, that's when I'm sure things are going to take off. I'm already feeling the itch in my palms, so that means things are probably taking off already. Leverage word of mouth marketing. Start getting individuals to say, hey, can you put that out there for me? Can you share my hashtag? Can you share my links? Can you put this out there on your platform so that others can see that we're working together? Can you do those things so that I can benefit and I'll give you a reward or I'll give you a compensation? Don't just do it because of the fact that they're your friends or they're your family. No, do it with some understanding that, hey, you help me, I'll help you. Network with people who run side businesses. Get them. I was with a realtor today, gave him my business card, say, hey, I'm an ideal consumer. I'm someone who can not only just help your realtor business, but if you are selling this home or if you are the broker for the landlords, I'm someone who can help you navigate through those challenges. I'm someone who can help every tenant that you have set them up for a positive win-win type of situation with whomever they may be renting or owning from. We have to work together. If we work together, I'm telling you, the abilities that we're going to have as a community, it's going to shock the misunderstandings that these companies have about us, the consumers, that, oh, they don't care about their credit. They don't care about anything. They just want. Well, I'm telling you now, 2 years ago, inflation was at 1.3. Today, inflation is hovering around, inflation is hovering around 8%. Everything that you purchased during the holidays, you did not get on a discount, a sale, or whatever they claim you did. All right. If you've already gone through the return process and you got you a little bit of bread back, fantastic for you. But I'm telling you now, what are you going to be doing with those resources? Hobby, business, hobby, business. What are you going to be doing? So a business, once the scale of order and the workflow increases, a hobby generally transforms it into a business. How can you tell that you're already a business person and not a hobbyist anymore? Well, here's some hobby business transformations. Dedicating consistently more time to your hobby. All right, that's a nice transformation, letting me know, hey, whoa, I'm spending a lot of time on my hobby and I'm making some money off of it. Probably could be making a little bit more off of it. Why don't I change this into a business? Following a client's lead instead of your own inspiration. That means you're doing and designing, creating client-based understandings. That means you're now past the hobby. The hobby means, oh, I'm just doing it for myself because I like it. And then I put it in the window. Somebody says, oh, I like that. Can I buy that? Can I own that? Then again, looking at changing that business from a hobby into a business. Getting an official license for that activity if needed. A lot of the hobby understandings do not require any type of a license, but if you do need to be licensed, make sure you get the accredited ones that are going to obviously give you that reputation that comes with that accredited institution. And hiring an accountant to manage finances and paying taxes. That's important. Yeah, we might be doing the TurboTax when it comes to our own. We might be doing other things equally when it comes to our own. But when it comes to a business, let the experts do it. Let those who really understand how to get the most back for you, let them do that. These signs may seem dreadful for some hobby lovers since this change brings the risk of loss of sense of fun and fulfillment from doing what you like. However, if you're hearing this, you're probably decided to turn your hobby into a successful business project. All right? You're probably already there. You just needed someone like myself to let you know, guess what? You should be changing your hobby into a business. All right, so here's where it gets interesting, folks. This is the part that I always love to talk about is money. New York State minimum wage. But I really wanted to hone in on that federal. If the federal government were to get up off its hiney parts and raise the federal minimum wage, a lot of situations would be far better and greater. They would be far better and greater. If a boss decides to give you $7.26, then obviously they're meeting or exceeding the federal minimum. We got states that are out there doing it, $14.20 for New York State as of 2023. So, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you understand how much money that you should be seeing in your paycheck. If you're not getting $14.20, there might be something wrong. Okay? New York State minimum wage rate is $14.20. This is greater than the federal, which is $7.25. But here's the shocking piece. This right here. That's what's shocking for me. The New York minimum wage, was last changed in 2008 when it was raised from $7.05 to $7.15. Now, obviously, over that time frame, we're now 2023. So you're looking at 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're talking about already 18 years. We're at 2020. Add another 3 more there. We're talking about 21 years. 21 years, and where have we gone? Not very far. But 10 plus 3, we're talking about 13 years. My apologies. Got a little ahead of myself. But we're talking about 13 years. 13 years. And they're just getting it to $4.20. Now, if I'm not mistaken, didn't the same New York elected officials ask for $30,000 more in their pay? Even though they're already making $110,000, they still need another $30,000 more? Come on, people. Come on. New York State, federal government, y'all all got to do better. Got to do better. Minimum wage, when you're asking us to go into these institutions and into these organizations and perform at the highest of our abilities, but yet you're only going to grant us a minimum understanding, you got us confused. But that's why you got me now, to help unconfuse you. All right, so the current minimum wage rate as of December 31st, 2022, New York State is $14.20. The minimum wage in New York City is $15. And obviously, if you live in other communities in the city, 11 employees or more, and for small employees, 10 or less. The minimum wage of Long Island and Westchester counties is $15. But I really wanted to highlight that federal minimum wage of being $7.25. The federal government has to do better. New York State's minimum wage and labor law. There's a poster that's got to be out there. If they don't have that poster out there, again, they're violating, not providing the information that they should be providing to you. That Fair Labor Standards Act, FLSA. Remember it. Understand it. It protects you, the employer. Or excuse me, the employer and the employee. Overtime, minimum wage. If you're working overtime, that means anything over 40 hours. You're now at a rate of a time and a half. You're now at a rate of time and a half. All workers who put in over 40 hours are entitled to a minimum wage of at least 1.5. That's time and a half. New York State wage exemptions. There are, again, exemptions to certain understandings. New York State minimum under 20 minimum hours. Again, there are $4.25. This applies to individuals that are, again, working in New York State, not in any other state. You got to be very, very careful when it comes to the state norms. All right, but if you want these slides, if you want this information to be able to go over it with your employees or go over it with family and friends, here I will be more than happy to provide these to you at zero cost. All right, because I'm doing this as a hobby in this regard. But again, I don't mind helping individuals as the business itself continues to grow. All right, so really super important. I wanted everybody to walk away. You got some frequently asked questions. If you have questions, please reach out to the entities that will be able to help you. If you can't find the answers to a question about the New York State minimum wage, please contact New York State or state labor law representatives with your questions. That's what they're there for. They're there to help you. But if for whatever reason they're giving you the runaround, reach back out to us. We'll be more than happy. Thank you, everybody, as always. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. My contact details as we continue this necessary conversation. We're going to be doing this because we need to correct the narrative. We need to make sure that everyone who is residing in these United States, male, female, students, seniors, those most vulnerable individuals that are being taken advantage of, and that's 70% of the population. Here's my website, Linktree, Leverage Credit Recovery. Find that, Linktree, Leverage Credit Recovery. Linktree is really, really cool. It allows for me to put a plethora of valued content in one location, and you can click through it. You can view it on your own screens, or you can view it on the platform that is provided by Linktree. Email us at leveragecreditrecovery@gmail.com, and that telephone number is 805-428-9424. Looking forward to making even more of an impact this year. The library in Yonkers, New York has granted me every Saturday of the month, starting at 12 o'clock in the Tech Lab to do necessary conversations. You get to talk to a financial expert. So let's get out there and let's do what we got to do. Let's get out there, do what we got to do because the resources are there. And to wrap it all up, social media, baby, social media. Find us on LinkedIn, not on LinkedIn, find us on TikTok, find us on Twitter, find us on Instagram, find us on YouTube, Tumblr, Snapchat. Like us, follow us, join us. It's just that simple, folks. As always, I am so grateful to be doing what I do. I thank every single one of you. This is now Recovery 2023. Don't sleep on this, folks. Get out there, do your best, make it happen. My name is Tyrone Glover, and I'm the Dress Down CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery. Thank you for giving me part of your afternoon. And as always, be safe, America.